want to say this should have been the first episode of Top Cow Tuesday. Today's episode, it's going to be a celebration. It's going to be a definition. Because I get asked this a lot. What do I like about Top Cow Productions? Why do I do Top Cow Tuesday? Why is Top Cow Tuesday important? The first answer is that I have to do this. I've been around these comic books long enough. I was there when they dropped. I paid the premium pricing for Witchblade #1, for example, back when that was a significant wall book. I tracked down the first appearance of Witchblade. I focused on the first appearance of Darkness. This is the impactful era of Witchblade. And what a lot of people forget is that the Top Cow universe started with the Cyberforce universe. So when I say I have to do this, there's so much perspective and spin and positioning that we don't see. It just gets ignored, it gets brushed over, and a lot of individuals do like a 10-minute video, even like a 30-minute video on the history of Top Cow or what you don't know about Top Cow. And all of these fun, clickbait driven, and we're all guilty of clickbait, but they're not comprehensive. Top Cow Tuesday is a comprehensive, obsessive study of the impact of Mark Silvestri and everything that he moved forward, the risk that he took leaving Marvel Comics, leaving the mainstream comics. But then here's the wild part. He outmaneuvered all of his contemporaries. The frustration is that we never got that Cyberforce cartoon. And when I say we, I don't mean me. I would want to watch that today, right? Because I'm a adult. I just want to do fireball shots and go out every single weekend and light my hair on fire. But no, I mean we as in back then. Back then, we wanted a Cyberforce cartoon. We wanted a Cyberforce series. Action figure line. We wanted all of it. Witchblade going into a live action show. Some of the Top Cow properties not catching fire in the video game market, even though that Darkness game is pretty good. Top Cow, for lack of a better term, during its life cycle, has had a lot of near misses, a lot of these opportunities. I remember reading that they had the 18 movie rights at one time, that they were trying to position themselves a little bit of like a Platinum Studios, if you're familiar with Platinum Studios. So there's a lot of these arcs within the company that echo within comic book history. They're parallel to comic book history that are either memory hold or people forgot. As I'm speaking to you, I'm showing you what Top Cow Productions is. They went from Cyberforce becoming or being an X-Men rejected pitch. Cyberforce was pitched for X-Men. Marvel said no. The opportunity arose. Silvestri chose to leave Marvel and bring Cyberforce with him, which is really weird to where when we discuss non-compete clauses, to where Jim Lee was able to bring a lot of the Wildcats, which were also positioned for Marvel. Eric Larson with a lot of his Savage Dragon villains. These were all positioned to be Marvel characters. They were pitched, they were cycled. We have early sketches that Marvel got of some of these characters. And that Marvel wasn't able to enforce a non-compete, I think, is one of Marvel's missteps. That's probably where a lot of Marvel's frustration came from, because those characters essentially were developed on Marvel time and on Marvel dollar. With all of that, though, Cyberforce, a rejected X-Men pitch, becomes as good as X-Men at the time. Same with Wildcats. Wildcats as good as X-Men at the time. And it seemed like these guys could just get away with the idea of imagery, like that their images and their designs and the way that they ran their coloring departments and what they asked for of their inkers, that they could get away with a one-to-one competition. Some of the problem though is that Marvel had the infrastructure, they had the management infrastructure to slow roll their books to become better. Like they had the infrastructure to wait it out, because eventually the writing did catch up to Image Comics. It caught up to Cyberforce. They caught up to all of the titles. The wild thing though is that they pivoted. Wildcats got better writing. Cyberforce got better writing. All the books from Top Cow Productions became better books, as recently profiled Darkness #1. It's a near perfect issue 1 launch. Garth Ennis. They knew early that they had the cash flow to lure in, quote unquote, the writers, and they did, right? Todd McFarlane, famous for recruiting Neil Gaiman, Frank Miller, Alan Moore, to somewhat stick it to the people saying that they weren't writing comics. But what Top Cow did that Wildstorm didn't do, that Todd McFarlane didn't do, that Rob Liefeld had no chance of doing, is they stuck it through. They were one of the lower tier Image houses with the lower tier Image properties, and they became the best in the industry, the best visual company in the industry. Some of us can argue maybe the best of all time. The best inking, the best coloring, the best images, the best covers, the best graphic design, the best packaging, and the books were good to, they were well to, you could read the books, and that's what I'm trying to say. You could actually read the books. Top Cow diversified its publishing profile. They went all in on what later would become the Witchblade universe, or the Artifact universe. They did titles like Rising Stars, Midnight Nation, Kin, and the list goes on and on. The 2000 return of the 80s properties that was kickstarted by Dreamwave Productions and Transformers, everyone had to have. So what does Top Cow do? Their competitor, Wildstorm Productions, they get Thundercats. That's like right, like that's the one, right? Because G.I. Joe Transformers was taken. They get Battle of the Planets, and they pull in Alex Ross as a art director. He's doing covers. He's helping design what that book looks like. He's also helping to design what that book is. Battle of the Planets is the best of all of them. It's better than what Dreamwave did with Transformers. It's better than what Devil's Due did with G.I. Joe. Because Devil's Due, they do Destro's son in that. So even when they're like 1-to-1, through their evolution, they do produce the top tier product. The artists that they recruited, trained, and dispersed and spit out back into the industry, David Finch, the most consistent and the greatest of his generation. Now, Michael Turner, if he was still with us, R.I.P. Michael Turner, we love you. We really do. Michael Turner could be there, because Michael Turner spun off of Top Cow and was already embedded in mainstream comics. He was doing significant covers for Flash, brought back Supergirl with Superman, but they were a full production house. When it comes to video game comic books, the Top Cow Tomb Raider, it's one of the best of all time. Could be the best. The Dane Jurgens work alone. Dane Jurgens understood how to write that effing character. They did a couple spin-off series. They did a couple spin-off miniseries. To compare it to Wildstorm Productions' Resident Evil license, it's not even close. It's literally not even close. The talent that came through, Andy Pack, who later took over the visual side of the Marvel Studios, the MCU. Significant talent came through Top Cow. You can argue more talent came through Top Cow than any of the image houses. I know a lot of people like to say Wildstorm Productions. Yes, it's significant, it's a close race, but when we look at individual impact and longevity, I think Top Cow has it. And some of it is you get more points if you stay in comics. If you drift out of the comics, your stock goes down a little bit. These are the things I love about Top Cow Productions. These are the things no one is saying about Top Cow. I feel I'm obligated to do this. 1 view, 1,000 views, 10 million views. It doesn't matter, because this story needs to be told, and no one is quite doing it like this. No one has done an absolute focused long form study of anything. So we do Top Cow Tuesday and we do Wildstorm Wednesday, because the two companies run parallel. And even just from this, you guys can see there's a lot of parallels, and you do have to make that comparison from time to time. So in Equal, we do some back-to-back episodes. Some of these collaborations, some of these storylines, some of these events are so vast. I need to do a Top Cow video and a Wildstorm Productions video, because they did share the same production house. They shared the same studio space. These are, again, things that are memory hold that people want to forget. And the absolute thriller of all of this is the dominance of Mark Silvestri, to where Mark Silvestri never was put next to Jim Lee. Even when Jim Lee disappeared, even when Mark Silvestri disappeared, he was never put next to Jim Lee. But when we look at the body of work, when we look at the most recent Batman Deadly Duo, which we will do on this channel, we'll do all of those issues, all that artwork. He is the master of his generation. Good backgrounds, great storytelling, great moments, great character rendering, all these weird intangible things that makes comic books comic books. Mark Silvestri has mastered more than Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, Eric Larson, all of them. Jim Valentino, the list goes on. He has improved through time. He has got better in time. He's becoming more exact in time. A lot of artists, they lose a step because their vision starts to go, and the list goes on. Mark Silvestri is the artist of his generation. Top Cow is the studio of the Image era. It's the only studio that's still sovereign and cranking out books. And what do I hear? I hear that the new Witchblade series is fantastic. People just keep telling me. I tried to find it at my local LCS, my local comic shop. Couldn't quite do it. They didn't have it. And the guy says, like it sells out. So I just get pissed. We have to study Top Cow. And a lot of Top Cow has to be documented. So that's what we're doing here. That's why I love Top Cow Productions. Part of it is, I feel like it's my mission. It's my mission to do this. And I'm doing it with no reward. I'm doing it with no influence. I'm doing it just because I guess I'm an obsessive weirdo on YouTube. Alright guys. It's a rant. But I feel like I just had to say some of these things. So rock and roll. I love you guys.